Good morning, class, and welcome to our very first distance learning video. We're going to be starting a new unit on graphs and data today, and we're going to start by talking about translations. So if you have not yet done so, please fill in the topic and essential question on your notes, make your columns, and we can start by getting down these vocabulary words that we'll need to know. So a translation, what we're talking about today, sometimes called a slide, is the movement of a figure from one position to another without turning it. So we're just taking an image, taking a figure, and we're going to move it from one position to another. We'll see what that looks like. Image is the new drawing of a figure after it has been transformed. So after we translate it, wherever it ends up, that new drawing in its new position is called the image of that transformation. All right, so pause the video here if you need a minute to get those down. Unpause when you're ready to move on. Okay, so let's look at an example here. So we have a image that's been translated. It says, draw the image of the figure after your translation in 3 units right and 2 units up. Well, the thing you might be asking yourself is, well, which is my original image and which is the translation? I got a blue triangle here and a green triangle here. Well, we can answer that question by looking at the points, also called the vertices. So if I look at the vertices of the blue triangle, they're labeled E, F, and G. If I look at the coordinates of the green triangle, it's the same letters, but there's this apostrophe next to them. The way we pronounce that is with the word prime. So we would call this E prime, F prime, and G prime. And what that prime tells us is that it's the new point after the translation. So based on what we're seeing on the coordinates, this blue triangle is our original one. This green triangle is our image. So if we look to see what happened with this translation, it moved 3 to the right and 2 units up. So when you're doing these translations, what you want to think of is you don't want to think about moving the whole figure. You want to think about moving each point. So if you move each point the same, then the figure as a whole is going to move the same. So I'm going to start with point E, and I'm going to move it 3 to the right and 2 up. And that gets me to E prime. Same with F. Moving F 3 to the right and 2 up puts it right there at F prime. Moving G 3 to the right and 2 up puts it right there at G prime. So once I make those dots and connect them, I end up with a triangle that looks exactly like my original triangle, just slid over 3 and up 2. Okay, let's see if we can do one more of those. So in this case, we're going to draw the image of ABC after a translation of 2 units right and 4 units down. By the way, I think all of my examples in this one so far are triangles. Please note this can be done with any shape. It just means it's going to have more points for you to move if it's a rectangle or a pentagon or something of that nature. But to keep it simple, let's stick with triangles for now. So I want to translate this 2 units to the right and 4 units down. So I'm going to take each point, move it 2 to the right and 4 down. So just counting out, we got 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. That spot moves there, and we're going to call that A prime, because that's where A moved. For C, we go 2 to the right, 4 down. Ends up right here, we call that C prime. Moving B to the right and 4 down, puts it right here. We call that B prime. Okay, so now if I connect those dots, I should get a triangle that looks exactly the same as the one above. Just moved. Voila. Okay, so let's pause the video here. Reset. So let's pause the video here for a sec and see if you can do one of those. All right, welcome back. So we're going to start looking at the vertices now with our translations. So in this case, I'm given triangle ABC, and it tells me what the coordinates are of each vertex. So A is at negative 2, 2. Remember, to get that number, we start at the origin, and we go, the first number tells me how far left or right I go. So negative 2 means I go to the left. Positive 2 for my y coordinate means I go up 2. So 2 to the left and then 2 up puts me right here. So that point is negative 2, 2. Similarly for B, to get to B I have to go 3 to the right and 4 up. So that's point 3, 4. To get to C, I have to go 4 to the right and 1 up. So that's 4, 1. Now I'm going to translate this 2 units left and 5 units down. Then we're going to look at what happened to my vertices. So starting with A, I go to the left and 5 down. Just counting it out puts me right there. Okay, there's A prime. And I can record the vertices of that one. Well, let's get the other points down first. So B, I go to the left and 5 down. It's going to put it right there. There's B prime. And C, I go to the left and 5 down. And it puts me right there at C prime. And then I can connect the dots. And we'll take a look at what my new vertices are. So for A prime, we go 1, 2, 3, 4 to the left and 3 down. So my coordinates of A prime are -4, takes me 4 to the left, and -3 brings me down 3. Okay. For B prime, I have to go over 1 and down 1. So it's 1 to the right is +1, down 1 is -1. So 1, -1 are the coordinates of that point. For C prime, to get C prime, I have to go 2 to the right and 4 down. So that's 0.2, -4. Okay, what I'd like you to do right now is pause the video for a minute and see if you can see the connection between the 2 points. So each pair of points, the X and Y are changing in the same way. See if you can find it. Alright, welcome back. Hopefully you saw the connection between each of the X coordinates because we're moving 2 to the left and the X coordinate controls movement left and right, and left is in the negative direction. We subtracted 2. So in each case we subtract 2 from the X to get the new X coordinate. For the Y's, because Y controls up and down movement and we're moving 5 units down, which is in the negative direction, to get to my new Y coordinate, all I had to do is subtract 5. So 2 minus 5 is -3, 4 minus 5 is -1, 1 minus 5 is -4. So moving it 2 units to the left, subtracted 2 from my X, 5 units down, subtracted 5 from my Y. Well, this is convenient because it'll let us come up with vertices without even having to create the graph once we see this pattern. So to summarize that, let's get that in our notes. Moving to the right, if we're translating to the right, we're going to take however many we move to the right and add that to our X. We move up, we're going to take however many we move up, add that to our Y coordinate. If we move left, we're going to subtract that number from our X, and down we're going to subtract that number from the Y. Okay, so let's get that down and see if we can use it. So we can use that to translate either a single point or all the points. We'll look at an example of each. In this case, it's just asking for the coordinates of point T prime after this translation. So if I'm looking at T prime, that's the image of T, I'm going to have to come up with what my coordinates are of T. So looking at T, to get to T, I would have to go 1, 2, 3 to the left and down 1. So the coordinates at that point are -3, -1. Okay. Now, if I think what's going to happen to those vertices in my translation is going 4 units to the right. 4 units to the right is going to add 4 to my X coordinate. 3 units up is going to add 3 to my Y coordinate. Again, we're adding in this case, we're going to the right and up. Those are both in the positive direction. So once I do that, -3 plus 4 is 1. -1 plus 3 is 2. So I get the point -0.12 once I add those together, which is option B. Okay, so 1, 2, that's where T prime would end up after that translation. All right, in this case, we're going to be translating all of our figures. So it gives us the original vertices, -1, 3, 2, 4, and 3, 2. And it says we're going to translate it 2 right and 3 units down. So I'm just going to take that information, apply it to my vertices to see where I would end up. So 2 units to the right means I'm going to be adding 2 to each of my X coordinates. So -1 plus 2 is 1, 2 plus 2 is 4, and 3 plus 2 is 5. Okay. Once I have those added, now I'll deal with the 3 units down. That's going to affect my y-coordinate. So down is in the negative direction, means I'm going to subtract 3 from all my y-coordinates. So 3 minus 3 is 0. 4 minus 3 is 1. And 2 minus 3 is negative 1. So these are the coordinates I end up with, which matches up with, looks like, option B. Okay. So there is my translation of those coordinates. Okay, so I'm going to pause the video again for a minute here to let you try this one on your own before we move on. Alright, welcome back. Hopefully you got that last one alright. Moving forward, we're going to extend this a little bit by thinking about incorporating some of the equation solving stuff we did previously to work backwards. So we're going to use the same thinking of kind of undoing what's been done. So in this case, it says triangle LMN is translated 5 units right and 2 units down. If the new coordinate of L prime is negative 1, 4, find the original coordinate of L. So this is moving a little bit in reverse. It tells us where the new coordinate of the image is, and we have to find what the original coordinate was. So we think about what happened to get that new image. We had some x coordinate originally, and we had some y coordinate originally. We don't know what they were, but I know that it was translated 5 units to the right. Well, 5 to the right means I would have added 5 to that x coordinate. When I add 5 to it, I end up with my new x coordinate, which is negative 1. Remember, x is the first number. Okay, for my y coordinate, I translated 2 units down. 2 units down means I would have subtracted 2 to get my new coordinate here, which is 4. Okay, so if I solve these pretty simple equations, I would subtract 5 from both sides here, and I would get x equals negative 6. Okay. To solve this one, I would add 2 to both sides, and I would get y equals 6. So that means the original coordinates of L were negative 6, 6. Okay, so we'll have one example like that for you to try before we conclude our video. Good luck. Okay, so in conclusion, our video is going to end with one final question, just confirming that you watched the entire video. Remember, as I stated before, the video is going to be worth, just watching the video is going to be worth 2 points. Answering the questions will be the 2 or 3, depending on how you are doing. Once you have that completed, you should see a grade show up in Schoology. I may adjust as needed, but those will show up each day. So I will see you tomorrow. Don't forget to ask me if you have any questions. I will be available from 10 to 12 and 1 to 3 each day. You can message me through Schoology, email me, or call me. The number is listed on that document. Okay. Good luck, and don't forget to message me or call me if you have any questions. I'll be available from 10 to 12 and 1 to 3. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.